Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming again for another episode of Destiny Tuesdays. I just want to do a quick recap because we just left the section of the mind and now we're entering into the section of the body. Of course, we all know, or hopefully we know, that the universe is, and this whole reality is constructed of three major points and three major dimensions: the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. And the first half of the book is talking about the mental, which if you can master the mental, you're 90% there. You're 90% there. Of course, we talk about the mindset shift. We talked about the law of attraction. We talked about self-esteem. We talked about fear and courage. And we talked about intuition and understanding on how the mind actually works to get you to where you want to be. Because all it takes is mindset to produce the proper thoughts to attract the proper things. And how we view the world tends to be how the world views us. Now you could see the world as this detrimental, destructive place, and you'll tend to always get right. You know, like Henry Ford said, either you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So how you see the world, you're right. If you see the world as this destructive place, you will have evidence of that continuously flowing to you. But if you see the world as this great, grand adventure, full of opportunity, full of life, and full of positivity, you will also get that flow to you as well. And I used to say to people that I feel like I do less and get more now before I did more and got less. Why? Because my focus is stronger and my mindset is stronger, and the vibrations that I send through my thoughts are a lot more stronger and purposeful. So everything I aim for, I usually get. And I don't say this to impress you, but to press upon you the ability and the strength that you have just from your mindset. And if you please take your time this week to recap on the book of the mind. Check out all the episodes to really understand and grasp the power of the mind before we enter into the body. And what the body is habits. You know, we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control what we do about any situation. And what you do continuously becomes a habit. And as you become a habit, it becomes rhythm. If you ever read the book from Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, he talks about the hypnotic rhythm. After you do something over and over again, it's like a pianist that can play a song multiple times. 30 years later, he could probably play the same song flawlessly. Why? Because it's practiced in his mind that much. It becomes a part of him. So everything you do habitually becomes a part of you. Meaning that it becomes a part of your overall being, because it becomes your default setting. Again, when we talk about the subconscious mind, your default setting becomes you, because when you're in an emotional state, or if you're not thinking, or if you're drinking, or if you're just not conscious, your default will always take over. Whatever you programmed your mind to do. That's why you ever had somebody act out, get very upset about something, and later on, like, man, I don't even know why I acted like that. Because you've been programming your mind subconsciously to react in an aggressive way whenever you feel threatened or danger or something that goes against your ego or self-esteem. That's the whole promise in the strength of your habits. So to get to 95% of your major success, your major potential, is controlling those habits. It's controlling what you do on a daily basis. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. Why? Because it becomes a habit. So if I have to get up, something important, I have no problem. I said, Rich, we're getting up. We do this every day. It's not a big deal. So even if I have to get up at 4:30, it's even no more bigger because I mean, a half hour to me in my mind already is not a big deal. So whenever you push yourself into a particular habit, a way you do things on a daily basis, it becomes your norm. And what your norm becomes what you habitually do and how you habitually will react to any particular situation. So that's why you want to control your habits. Habits is so important. So if you get your mindset correctly, next will be the habits. The habits of what you do on a daily basis will create your reality. You know, I was listening to this Eric Thomas speech where most people, he was like, yeah, you can't, you don't study well because you never studied. He's like, you know, when you have a test, you're trying to cram that day, but you haven't built the habit of cramming. You haven't built the habit of studying. So when you have your books already and you have your pen and your pencil and you're ready to go, right when it's time to put work in, you get tired and you get distracted. Why? Because you habitually have been doing that. Going towards the distractions, going towards the sleep, going towards the fatigue more often than you have a let's lock in. And as you can habitually put yourself in the lock-in mentality, it will become a default setting for you, become a lot easier. So whatever it is, this is my action step for you today. Before we get into the whole chapter, is anything that you have that you don't like doing, but you know you need to do, take 30 minutes. Take 30 minutes a day doing that action. Turn off your phone, turn off your timer, or just put on your timer, turn off your phone, turn off every distraction, put it on your calendar, tell everyone, hey, for this half hour, I'm busy. And do that. Even at first, it looks hard. Like, say, phone calls for me was like difficult. I used to do health insurance, and making phone calls just would drive me nuts. But if I could sit down for a half an hour and I could bang it out, call after call after call after call. Oh, that was tough. The next day, call after call after call. Oh, that was tough. The next day, call after call and call. Okay, it's not so bad today. Then call after call, they become easier. So if you take 30 minutes per day, or at least 5 times a week for this week, take 30 minutes to lock in on whatever that you don't like doing, but you know you need to do, and start building the habit of doing it. And when you feel tired and you feel exhausted, you'll still do it. Why? Because it became a habit for you. You know, sometimes I don't like going to the gym. You know, some days you just don't want to go. But there's days when I'm tired. I've worked all day. I'm exhausted, physically, mentally. I still go. Why? Because it's a habit. And once you have and establish those particular habits, you'll never want to break. You can't break them. They're a part of you now. So this week, take 30 minutes, just 30 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. If it's reading a book, if it's writing the blog, if it's doing a Facebook Live, if it's doing whatever that you've been procrastinating to do, take the next week, take 30 minutes to lock in on just that particular thing. Begin to establish the habits. It takes 30 days to get in your mindset, particular habit, and 90 days to lock it in. I promise if you do this, you will become more successful. Why? Because you're doing the things successful people do that unsuccessful people won't do. And I really appreciate you guys taking your time to watch this. Always, I'll see you next week for lesson number 1 on the physical side of habits and how to create the important habits that will change your life. Again, check out Destiny on Purpose, check out my website, check out my Instagram and my social media handles. I appreciate every last one of you. Namaste. Hey, again, thank you for stopping by. Please share, like, comment, and just remember, even though if you may have this information and it's something that you're already practicing, there's people out there that may not have it, that are reaching and needing and yearning for it. So please share it with them for their benefit if it's not for yours. And I want to continue to do these videos, so please keep subscribing so I can continue to give great content for free and I could give a positive outlook just on life and how to change your life and how to increase it from where it is to where you want to be. Again, this is Rich Fontaine of The Power of Self-Entertainment, and you could agree with me or not agree with me, but either way, I feel that this was a successful conversation.